Hi, everybody. So today we're going to talk about the ice wall. And we're going to talk about the new world as well and how it's going to unfold a bit here. So we're kind of stepping into a new matrix is what I would call it, because we've been in an old matrix and now we're moving into a new one. And it's being created with our input. So there are creator beings that create the matrices, and so they build the foundations for the learning games that are all across the universe. And this has been the hardest one. So we are dismantling it. We have learned, and we also are no longer learning in a polarized way. So conflict will not be the way that we learn anymore. So here is the new matrix, let's call it. And your soul, goes off into the astral plane every night, and you are basically attached to your body with a silver cord. And as you go into the astral plane, you go to work. So here is the dream, and we're working here as well. We're working quite hard. We're working to upgrade the body. We are working to upgrade the mind, and we're basically mostly working with the human side of ourselves, so that the human being is willing to go into fifth density. So we're growing, and our old soul is teaching our young soul, our young human soul, how the universe works, and giving it a safe place to be and being a guide. So when we go into the astral plane, we're going to work, and sometimes we remember parts of it and sometimes we don't, because sometimes it's incomprehensible to the human part of us. And basically all these little spots of light, I would call them beings at this point. In the past, they were more of a projection on the dome, and I'm going to show you that here in a minute. But remember that you are the creator, and also the collective is a creator. So as the collective agreements shift, because you have shifted, then things change, and they're changing for the better. So that's what we're doing right now. And these are the first visions that I was given before I even went on YouTube. So that is a dome, and I was shown the earth from the top the first time. And this is the earth from the side, according to my higher self. And it is a toroidal field. And in the middle of it is a soul, a really big one. And she is holding space for us to grow. And within that dome was two sections. So one is within the ice wall and one was outside of the ice wall. And then there is a second wall, which was a dome, and we're going to go beyond that as well. But what are we going to see out there? That seems to be a really big question right now. So we're going to see a lot of glass buildings, and they won't be like this. They will be smooth, and they will not have many panes that are put together to create them. They will be one unit, and they will be thick glass, and they will also be able to show us things like the TV screen will be built into the glass. And a lot of stuff will be mostly curved. So we will see many layers of societies out beyond the ice wall. And things are curvy. The newer ones are much more curvy than the older buildings. And there are a few people out there beyond the ice wall, but many of them are gone because they were part of the more negative group. And that's where they were doing a lot of things in that outer ring. But we will go beyond that outer ring at some point, and we will see things that are amazing. So when we go beyond the outer ring and all those empty buildings, we're going to see a sea of green, and we're going to see a lot of ancient structures, and some of them will be melted. Some of them have been in ancient conflicts. So the whole universe used to run basically on polarity. So we learned through conflict, and we're not going to be doing that anymore, because the 3D and the 4D, and that's density, will be going, and we're pretty close to that happening right now. But they are splitting away from our reality at the moment. So outside, we're going to see pyramids. We'll also see pyramids within the outer ring of where the dome was. And we're going to see a lot of layers of ancient civilizations, and things will actually still be being used. So a lot of the pyramids are still being used, and there are just a lot of green space. So you can see that there's a small village there, and most of the world is green. There will be no more weather modification after a while, and I think that there may be some that is used to regreen where we have been, because the natural state is to be in a terrarium. So the firmament still exists, and it will always exist because it's where our oxygen lives, and we're basically in a terrarium right now. So we will see some of these ancient structures, and we will see a lot of green, and some of them will be covered up by the green, just like they are here. And there really wasn't any liquefaction event beyond that second ring. So the second ring didn't really get liquefaction, and beyond that second ring where the dome was, didn't have any liquefaction either. We will see a lot of ancient structures and things like this statue in pristine condition, because a lot of the society was not torn down or destroyed. So we're going to see a huge mix of different layers of society, and we'll see a lot of that within that second ring, but also beyond that ring. So on the outside of where the dome was, there was also tremendous amounts of societies going on. Lots of ET interaction, and lots of beings that were much larger because there's more oxygen out there. And we're starting to feel the effects of more oxygen here. And I don't know if you've noticed it yet, but we had probably 15% oxygen within the dome, and outside it's more like 35. So we are getting the benefit of more oxygen, but not to the 35 degree yet, because we don't have the greenery here like we do out there. So you're going to see a lot of these beautiful structures in that second ring, and you're going to see even some glass add-ons. So the glass is more like a liquid glass, and you're going to see a lot of greenery. So they weren't weather modifying the outside in that second ring the way they were here. They weren't drying things up. They weren't creating big storms to create misery. So we're going to see a lot of glass and a lot of circular buildings out there. And those will be the more modern buildings. And when we go beyond that, we're going to see a lot more alien, that we would call extraterrestrial type buildings. And they're going to be fantastic. We may not understand them at all, like how to even get in the front door, but it will be an amazing experience. And when we go beyond that second ring, we will be in contact with extraterrestrials at that point. And I think that small groups will go out at first, and it will be kind of an introduction slowly, because it could be hard for a lot of people with the programming that we've experienced. So, crystal cities, I do believe that there's a few that are out there, and we will see them. And they actually look like a liquid, like it was liquid glass that was formed. And they're called crystal cities, but they're mainly glass. And they're formed in a crystalline way. So they're really good for the body. And a lot of things are very round and free form. So there's a lot of free form, round, cymatic, beautiful structures that are helpful for the human to see, for ETs to see, and it helps you feel a certain way. It like raises your vibration. There will be a lot of enormous animals, and some of them have their own islands. There's a massive amount of land to be explored, but some of it we will not explore because it's basically a place for the animals to be. It's their place, and they are enormous. So many giant animals and giants that are very humanoid will be out there beyond that dome, or where the dome was. The dome is now gone. So these feet, imagine that they're like so huge. There is huge sea creatures out there. And there are some huge sea creatures within where we are now. And some of them were in like a hibernation, and some of them have found their way in from outside. And these oceans are just absolutely vast. And we won't be traveling in boats across the oceans out there. And eventually we probably won't be traveling across the oceans within the area that we know either, because there will become more and more large creatures there. And even if they don't want to hurt anyone, they could accidentally hurt you or knock your boat over. So there are vast amounts of land out there, and we will be flying a lot. So flying around in different kinds of vehicles, flying cars, flying ships. I don't think that the trains will be used under oceans in that area. And it is so very green. So look up terrarium if you're interested in what the regreening of this area will look like. But imagine a rainforest. There is also, which has been mentioned by many, a different kind of water out there. And I believe that we are close to actually having a version of that water available to us here. But it basically reactivates the body. And it's called the Fountain of Youth. And there's a TV show about that, and I'm going to try and find it and put a link to it below this video. But remembering that hydrogen water, water that is vortex water that has been run over rocks, that's basically like living water, is so much better for the body. That's important to know now. So we're going to be moving into a really amazing kind of world. And I think that this water has been duplicated beyond the ice wall, or beyond where the dome was. And there will be beings, just like we've been seeing, the orbs. It will feel happy. And I want to show you these paintings here at the end. I'm just going to play some music. But these, I think, are much older than what they say. And this is a glimpse into Tartaria within the dome before it was basically destroyed in a lot of ways. And just feel the feeling of these paintings. It's amazing. That's how it felt. Calm, dreamy, and lovely. So I hope you guys have a beautiful day.